Commercial radio is a $1.6 billion industry in this country thanks to bankable stars at the microphone. But while the digital invasion hasn't killed the radio stars, it's having a big impact. Listeners can now get their music, news, sport and weather online, and advertisers are beginning to tune out with them. And that's creating a long-term growth problem on the dial. Andrew Robertson reports.
No, she must be getting on a plane or some stupid excuse would have been given.
Right, that was it.
As the top-rating FM breakfast team in Australia's biggest market with a program aimed at the all-important Gen Y, Kyle and Jackie O bring in big advertising dollars for the Australian radio network. But like all traditional media, the shadow of the internet looms large over radio.
On Instagram, okay, toads follow me.
For us, it's been this fantastic way to take your content and the great content we've always done to lots more people on lots more platforms.
Oh, the boss is here! Big dog! Yeah!
Hello,
so Tony.
We're just planning the show. What are your thoughts so far?
As head of one of Australia's big three commercial radio networks, it's no surprise that Tony Kendall has a positive outlook for the industry. He points to a just-released industry survey which shows radio still has 65% of the market for all forms of audio.
For all the hype of the streaming services, they're only at 9.2% of listening, and of that, Spotify's 5.8%. So there's a lot of hype around those new players, but the actual time that people are spending with them is not as great as I think people are perceiving.
Hey, Oprah!
Oprah Winfrey!
Hi! Great to talk to you guys.
The success of talent like Kyle and Jackie O helped the Australian radio network outperform the industry last year. Revenue was up 22% to $221 million. Profit was up 25%. But the internet is causing some static, as figures from research house IBISWorld show. Commercial radio is a $1.6 billion a year industry. However, since IBISWorld began monitoring radio 9 years ago, revenue has grown only 9%, an average of just 1% a year. And in the next 5 years, IBISWorld predicts revenue will dip 2%.
The industry has been relatively resilient to some of the disruption we've seen with online platforms and how it's affected other media industries.
Andrew Ladovsky puts that resilience down to the fact that in many ways radio doesn't compete as directly with online providers as newspapers, magazines and television.
Talkback radio, sports broadcasts, news broadcasts, these sorts of things are not in direct competition with streaming services, and they're a slightly unique product.
And they have clout, not just with advertisers, but with politicians.
But you're running a hypothetical yourself by telling us it's not valid.
Well, there's nothing hypothetical about that.
And he's got to stick with a friend in very difficult times. That's when friends are needed, isn't it?
3AW's Neil Mitchell and 2GB's Alan Jones are the kings of talkback radio in their respective cities, with their appeal to over 50s who are still spending up big, which continues to make them a prime audience for advertisers. An example of their power is that Alan Jones was a key player in forcing New South Wales Premier Mike Baird to back down on his plan to ban greyhound racing.
But the leader has now become from the choir boy to the dictator, and they're frightened. They're made to toe the line.
Despite the power of radio, the hard truth, according to media analyst Steve Allen, is that the average number of people listening at any one time is falling.
People are spending less time with the medium because of all this fragmentation that's going on, these other things that they can get similar sounds to or similar information from.
Those deserting radio are younger people who've been brought up on the internet, the people Australian Radio Network targets with KISS or its youth station The Edge. And while ARN's Tony Kendall dismissed music outlets like Spotify as overhyped, Steve Allen is not so sure.
And whilst they've got a small share, they had no share 3 or 4 years ago. And that share will continue to grow.
Radio has something going for it that newspapers, magazines and television don't, and that's cars. Car sales are at record highs and morning and evening peak hour traffic jams are worse than ever, which means that at radio's prime revenue generating times, millions of people have nothing better to do than listen to the radio.
Breakfast and drive are the key spots for advertisers, are the key spots for the reach in our day. And the way the population growth and the infrastructure planning of this country is going, there's no chance of that changing anytime soon.
Katie, we want to do an ad. I believe we should focus on the amount you eat on air, more than anyone else in the marketplace, by far. We've done research.
Print media has already been eaten by the internet. Television is in decline, and the big challenge for radio in the long term is to keep its audience tuned in.